Okay, if that went well, you're seeing the UNT admin interface of ArchivesSpace,
Yes.
University of North Texas. So so the reason behind this plugin, or at least the benefits I I especially see in it, are, of course, the basic task of name disambiguation. Uh, it's a collaborative labor saving feature in that you don't have to reinvent the wheel for every collection creator or contributor. Uh, you you immediately situate your collection in a broader context, and you facilitate collection discovery beyond your local finding aids. So again, archival name authority records really reach their full potential outside of those institutional silos. And since the name of the person transcends the particular physical collection located at that institution, so the broader information in archival authority records compared to conventional, say, Library of Congress name authority records enhances understanding of the collection materials wherever they may be. And I'm a librarian by title, so in framing my approach, I always like to point out that my favorite law of library science is number 4: save the time of the reader. So to get to the process, you will need some user education to make the most of this, both internally and with your public users, because it does require getting people off of their beaten paths. There's that 80-20 software rule that states that 80% of users rely on about 20% of a program. And I think that proportion is even more dramatic for ArchivesSpace. So installing the plugin will require your IT team and likely the Atlas systems people, for several reasons, including security, a manageable scope of things to support, and because of the technical knowledge required, the workflow at UNT for tasks like this is highly compartmentalized. So my knowledge of the inner workings of our local instances fairly limited. So this demonstration will focus on the admin and public facing views of ArchivesSpace. So we are starting on the admin side. And if you've used ArchivesSpace, you know that one of its key aspects is the organization of the components that form the finding aid as a whole, as seen in the browse menu. It one of the outputs is a finding aid, but it includes the components of resources, container profiles, and of course agents. If you're still getting acquainted with ArchivesSpace, and they have an extremely useful sandbox instance set up where you can test the public and administrative sides, you'll find that ArchivesSpace has particular terms for a lot of finding aid components, and agents is a collective term for corporate bodies, persons, and families. And we also include software under that umbrella, since that does happen now. So I did want to touch on that issue of terminology briefly to lend context to what we do next, which is using the plugin to import agent records, that is, SNAC authority records. So we'll cover two scenarios here. One is importing from scratch, where there's no pre-existing record for a given agent. The other is importing into an existing record. So we're going to close the browse menu and go over to the other side of the screen and click the drop-down menu by the little gear icon. And at the bottom, we can mouse over and open up the plugins menu. So one of our options is SNAC agent import. And so the screen you land on is really quite simple, and it kind of assumes you know what you're looking for. So this is for creating or rather importing an agent from scratch. And our test case here is going to be the jazz singer Betty Carter, who is an interviewee in our Tim Owens Jazz and Broadcast collection. Currently on the admin side, as we search on this, you'll notice that you'll get a little spinning wheel until you click on show details. And so this doesn't have any bearing on the public facing functioning. So if you encounter this, clicking show details seems to fix it. And so in this case, we have 8 options for Betty Carter, and they're pretty tidy so that it's clear which Betty Carter we're looking for and which one we're not. So it happens that the jazz singer pops up first, and then other Betty Carters follow. So we can go ahead and select the relevant Betty Carter and click import, and it will verify and show you what's happening in the background job log. So there are 2 other scenarios to consider here. For other names, you may find that records need merging, or the one you need doesn't exist yet. So if you're an active SNAC editor, and it's all the more reason to join as a SNAC editor, you can fix this in either case and return to this step. So what we've done so far is import the SNAC record for Betty Carter into our set of agents in ArchivesSpace. Another distinctive feature of ArchivesSpace is the need to affirmatively publish things that should be visible to the public. So we'll need to go back to our agent menu, browse agents, and search for Carter, Betty. It's getting late in the afternoon. And so sure enough, we've imported the SNAC record. And so we need to link it to where she appears in the collection. And so we'll click on view. Interestingly, it's not edit that makes this happen. Or actually, this one is edit. I need to backpedal there. Yeah, so for making the agent public, you do use edit mode in the agent view to click publish. And now when we go to our public interface in this other tab, we can search on names. And that's what the public sees. So you have this immediate link to SNAC. So going back to the other tab, this has made that authority record visible outside of the admin interface. So what we need to do now is connect this record with the collection that Betty Carter appears in, and on the particular item for that matter. So we'll go back to browsing resources and Tim Owens. So this is the Tim Owens Jazz and Broadcast Collection. We'll navigate to Betty Carter, and the nice thing is there's two interviews. So if we have time, I don't know that we will, but if we had time, we could run this twice. So we'll go to the first one. And so let's see, and this also does depend on the edit interface. I just got a bit ahead of myself earlier. It's when we're talking about pre-existing SNAC records in a few minutes that we'll be looking at the view interface. So for now, we can add agent link. And so you have required fields. We're going to call her creator. And if I search on Carter alone, you can see every authority record we have for someone with Carter in their name, and there's Betty Carter. And so this interview is now linked with a wealth of information on Betty Carter and who she was and other collections. So this gets really useful where you have more obscure names, like say Lester Young's brother Lee is interviewed in this set. And if you're not familiar with Lee Young, now you have a link to explore further. So this is creating a record from scratch and then linking it to its collection item. And so if we go back and to our public interface and refresh, you can see now it's directly linked to the item in the collection, so that you now have multiple ways of going at discovering things in the collection. You can start with the user and get to the collection, or start with the agent, I should say, and get to the collection, or start with the collection and get to the agent. So that opens up interesting avenues for discovery. So now we'll look at the easier case, and going to jump over here and search again on agents, and we're going to look for Philip Barbosa, who has a pre-existing SNAC or pre-existing local record, and he also has a SNAC record, but they're not linked yet. So this is where we go into the view interface, and you'll see there's a SNAC dropdown. So there's several ways to go about this. One is, if you know exactly the person you're searching for, like say there were 5 Philip Barbosas and you need the particular one who is in the Dallas Opera Chorus, you can enter that directly. In this case, if I search on Philip Barbosa, it returns the right one instantly. And you can click on it to verify longtime chorus member with the Dallas Opera. And select link with SNAC. And again, it spawns a background job and makes pretty quick work of it. You can follow the progress on the green screen. So that way, if you have robust local authority records, you don't have to start from scratch or worry about merging records. So what this does for your internal or staff user is that it streamlines access to information both for processing and reference service. So if you've had a collection land on you and you need to know some context yourself, or you're not a specialist in the reference question that's been sent to you, these are great tools for that. And then for your public user, you have a tool for discovery of context and materials, so that, for instance, with a collection creator like Barbosa, or say with one of our band leaders who had a lot of associates like Maynard Ferguson, you're not limited to our collection, but you have this jumping off point to all of the Maynard Ferguson collections, or collections where he's referenced, that are recorded in SNAC. So it's a time saver, and it's also a rabbit hole that can take up an afternoon, depending on where you are with your research. So that's that's those two cases of the creation from scratch and then adding SNAC to an existing record. And are there questions?
There is one from Stephanie Breadwinner. Can agent records have multiple authority links? For example, an LCNAF ID and a SNAC ID for the same person. Do you know of any institutions that have implemented both or multiple authorities in this way?
That's a good question, and I stopped sharing my screen too soon because we also have the LCNAF plugin, and so yeah, the importing the SNAC information isn't exclusive of the other information. So it is possible to add. For instance, if we go to Philip Barbosa again, and it's not something I've explored in detail, but I believe there are ways to add other agent links. So yeah, add record ID. You have so if we were going to add a record ID, you would have the set of options here of the name authority file, Library of Congress subject headings, local sources, and so on. So that just like in SNAC, where we can pull together multiple authority sources to make an identity stronger and stronger, like VOF, Library of Congress, and Wikidata, and so on. It is possible to also compile these here.
Great, thank you. Stephanie says thank you as well. Patrick would like to know, for purely selfish reasons, can the plugin hook into other APIs in CRIves like Meridian?
That would be cool. I'm not at all sure how in how much depth the APIs can link from within the program. Yeah, that would be a good question, probably for Robbie and or for the ArchivesSpace designers.
Yeah. Just two kind of thoughts to follow up. In terms of for catalogers or small shops that want to get into SNAC and stuff like that, would you say, or what would you say is the main benefit of knowing how to do this and knowing how to use the ArchivesSpace plugin, basically?
It's a huge time saver,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I think is the main benefit. But there are a lot of complementary benefits to using this, where you have not only the time saver and the clarifying information about a person, corporate body, or family, but then also the tools for discovery. Definitely saves time both on for the internal user and the public user, and also for reference service to be able to have access to that all of that contextual information. So that's what I see as the key benefits, and that way the fact that you can append it to an existing record is also a major time saver, so that you have the best of both worlds with your local authority file and the link to SNAC.
Another question from Patrick. Can you contribute to a record from ASpace to SNAC by only using the ASpace interface?
Not at the moment. It's not not possible in that I've seen if to push data to SNAC. It's only yeah only pulling from SNAC. So the Open Refine plugin is the puzzle piece right now that kind of fills that space.
So that's actually a good segue for plugging your tech workshop, which will be on May 15th if you want to tell folks a bit about that, and I'll share the registration form.
Excellent, thanks. So we know with these plugins and features, there's also going to be understandably demand for training on them, so that again, saving time, saving labor. You don't have to reinvent the wheel on your own. So we will be offering trainings and demonstrations on using the Open Refine plugin, so that hopefully that helps get people collectively over the speed bumps in the process, and it also provides a chance to ask questions.
Yeah, for those who don't know, Open Refine is kind of a data cleanup tool, and Library Workshop has a kind of a step-by-step way of kind of learning about Open Refine. And we've also done a demo with Maristella previously when they were working with the NABS data set, and getting that all cleaned up. So if you're interested in that video, it is a little bit of a longer one, but I'm sharing the YouTube link to that. And then the workshop in May will be a follow-up of that in terms of like actually putting something into, like using it and putting it into SNAC. And then I'm sure we'll see some ASpace workshops and stuff in the future as well. Um, I think a few people could answer this one. Is the SNAC ID, in this case, 1547903, stable in the sense that it will always identify Betty Carter?
I think Jerry or Robbie could give a more complete answer than I could, but the actual permalink, if you'll notice, there are two record identifiers that were imported when we imported the Philip Barbosa record here. So the one I believe is regarded as the permalink is the second one with the N2T.net.
And I'm going to lean on Robbie for a response to that one about the changing links. I know that when records are merged in SNAC, the old link is saved but presented in a yellow banner when you've landed on a record that has been changed, that will redirect you to the new link and to the new record. But Robbie, if you can add anything there.
Yes, I can say that the numeric identifier as well as the ARC are just as permanent as the other. So if the record is ever merged with something else, it will be minted a new numeric identifier and a new ARC. But the way we've designed the system, the old ARCs, the old numeric identifiers always still point back to the same entity. They will just follow the merge process for you. So as you mentioned, Jerry, if you open up one of the old ones, you'll get a banner saying, hey, we've sent you to the new one, but letting you know that it's changed, but it's still there. So all of these links will still work in the future.
Thank you for that.
Great. I think this is all going to be great when we do our mergeathon that we've talked about. So keep all those notes.
Huge fan of the mergeathon.
Yeah. There was a question, and I'll just answer it because Jerry answered it over chat. How many different ways can the authority records be filtered as a search function? Generally by entity type, corporate body, person, and family. There's other filtering that can happen via advanced searches with combos of subject, occupation, and activities terms. And for anybody who's interested in that, we do have a using SNAC for research and reference video that goes deeper into advanced search functions, or you can take the class live. The next one will be March 25th, I think. That's on that SNAC school website link that I sent to everybody already. And I think that's it. There's one
Next
question.
question I would like to hand to Robbie.
Um, so we don't have anything official for link rot because the links don't actually go away. So even if you use an old link for an identity, it will always redirect you and make sure that you get the current version. Um, so even links that have been merged 5 times over the past 10 years will still actually resolve. So none of those links will actually be dead or rot. Yep.
Great. And for future recording watchers, the question was, is there a link rot check for when the great merging happens?